All right.
All right,
Okay.
Mama Q. Or ceiling, sure.
Welcome
Or-
everybody to another Cloak and Dagger Earth 2 report, Earth 2 discussion. It's me again with Keem and Bree, and it's we took a break in between two episodes, and we're back to drop two episodes on you. Two player was 2 weeks ago, and last week was Blue Notes, or Thursday was Blue Notes, and that, in my opinion, was the that's the episode before the finale, and it was really good. It was really, I almost wanted to say juicy, but it was really good because we got finally all the players are on the board. Um, eventually, the ceiling will tell the story once in a while. But anyway, before we get into it, I always like to ask Bree and Keem what they thought. So since we didn't do last week, let's really run last week, and let me just ask you what you thought about last week's episode. Uh, don't all go at once, but
Um,
okay.
me. Let me look at my notes.
Okay, Keem always has the notes. That's why I'm always like, oh, you can go first.
Yeah, I only took notes through like the first half of the show though. So after we get to a certain point, I'm gonna be like, I don't know.
I
um,
don't take notes, but okay.
yeah. So two player, it was cool. I don't really.
Yeah,
I will.
that was. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was all right. Like, it was a
It's all
good
right.
transition episode. Like it wasn't. It was sad. I
Very
think
sad. It was very sad. I
it
feel
was
like both
super sad.
episodes were like super sad in their
You thought
own.
last episode? Well, last episode was sad, but it was more of an aha episode for me.
Aha.
And I think the Blue Note might be like my favorite episode
Of the season.
ever of
Interesting. Oh,
of
of
any of them.
ever.
Hmm.
Oh, wow. That's high praise. Bree?
That's very high praise. Um, blue two player, two
Yes.
player. I liked two player because for once it was Ty trying to give up and having to see like everything
Roles
that he
reversed,
would.
right?
Yeah, like he finally and it was weird at first because like he saw Tandy and like he was like, oh, this is great, I found Tandy, but at the same time he was like, but like look at all the shit we have to go through and like gave up and like mentally and like when he
Right.
was in there. Like he was like, we could just be in here and win for
And not
fucking
have to
once
deal with
instead of
All
me
the
having
time.
to get you from a freaking kidnapping trafficking hotel.
Right, right.
Like, so I don't know. I felt like that was more an emotional episode for me just because they're kids.
Right.
They are literal kids and they are dealing with that.
Right.
And that's
Well,
ignoring all the stuff he already has to deal with for being an outlaw and shit.
you
Right.
know what? I thought two player was my favorite. Like, of all of the episodes, I think two player is my favorite episode, King. And the
Huh.
reason I think two player is my favorite one is because we got a version or a retelling of their
Oh, that
actual
shit
comic
was
book
cool.
origin, and it looked really cool. And I would have thought you liked that one, King, because you finally got what you wanted. But
There was a small squee that came out of me where
So good
I was
though.
like,
I
we
was
got a
so
lot.
happy.
We got a
I
lot of
was so
shanking in
fucking
that
happy.
episode. It sounds
she
like
was shaking the fuck out of everybody, and I was just like, yes.
Yeah, so I really like that one. If nothing else, for the, again, like Bree said, it was kind of roles reversed. Usually we get Ty trying to pick Tandy up from the dumps, and it's like, no, Tandy, like I got, Tandy's like, no, I got your back. This is not the real world. We have actual real shit to deal with while you're in here playing games, and it's like, but at least we're winning. In here, we control the narrative. We're winning, and it was like, no, but it's a false sense of it's a false victory. Like you're not really winning. But another reason I like two players because again, so that's a version of two player, and we got to see a different version of two player with Bridget and O'Reilly, and it was they finally sat together and had a conversation, and O'Reilly really handed over the keys to Bridget and said, "Hey, this is this mission or this thing we have to deal with might need someone who's more who's just more aggressive or who's just more passionate about doing things than
She said,
me.
I think you're the one. I think you're going to be the one who has to, like, who can do
Yeah,
this. I can't
and
do
it's
it.
like it's like they kind
He
of
says
find
the world
balance
needs
between
someone
yeah.
like you more than it needs someone like me. And
Yes,
I
yes.
loved that entire fucking conversation.
Like the conversation went from them talking about their her actual past. Again, I don't know why I'm saying them because it's her talking to her, and it's like, oh, do you remember when we went to the mall and Dad was flirting with, or Dad dropped us off at this particular place, and it's like, yeah, I remember. Oh, he was just there talking to this lady, and I think
No,
Bridget
he
was
was
like,
there trying to
no, he
fuck
was
this
flirting.
lady.
He was trying to get and so it's like from one perspective, it's almost like watching what Tandy goes through herself. It's like we see Tandy as a kid or as an adult tell her mom, well, you could have just left. I never even knew Dad was this XYZ. You saw her go through season 1 as seeing her dad as an angel. In season 2 she gets a different perspective, while in this one conversation with O'Reilly and Bridget we see both of them tell the same story differently, and I thought that was really cool. And the whole thing about the green nail polish kind of like there was a
Guess who got inspired?
Oh my gosh.
please don't walk around trying to slice
I
those,
want
Keem.
it.
I can make no promises.
You're gonna see King on the
Oh,
news.
Keem, I like your hair.
Thank
BC
you.
woman tries to slice.
Look, there's like 8 coats of nail polish up here, and you can still see my fingernails. So you can still see like my nails through it. So I don't think I'll be slicing with my hands.
So you're O'Reilly. You're not Bridget. It's cool.
I'm down to be mayhem.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
but
I'm
so I like that episode for what we got from that episode. Well, I mean, that was kind of like we almost kind of covered it. But no, if we want to go a little
No,
deep
we
into that episode,
didn't.
I feel like
You're gonna.
not at
there's a
all.
lot more.
You are
there's
just
like a
in
lot more.
denial, okay? Evita is a married woman.
I'm not going to talk about that. I refuse. I refuse. I
Heart,
refuse to talk about that. I don't
my
think I should.
heart broke a little bit for you, Mo, when that happened. I was like, well, I guess I was wrong about that. I mean, maybe she'll still be in the episodes, but
Like what? Like what? Why? Why? It was so stupid. Like,
She did it for
I don't
Ty. She's a Lola now. She's
she
gonna be
did it for
fucking
love.
shit up.
like.
No,
You could have
she's
gone to college.
a mambo.
Yeah, you could
Oh,
have gone to
Mambo.
college.
Yeah, my
You
bad.
could have
Mambo. But
become
she married a Lola.
Yeah, she could have become a lot of things. Like, now I'm going to college. Like, fuck this. But
Really,
whatever.
we should be mad. You should be mad at Ty because he took way too long.
Right.
Way too long. No,
But
you should be mad at Tandy because her opening speech to convince was like weak sauce.
Trash.
Like
It was trash.
she could have opened some like, hey, look, your girl is out there, Evita, the one you love and you're worried about, she's out there and she's worried about you. You need to like come back right now. And he would have been like, my girl?
My girl?
Yeah. And he would have snapped right out of it.
Right. But anyways, let's actually go into the episode. So,
Okay, yeah. Read the summary and shit.
yeah, so I'm gonna read the synopsis. Whatever. 2-player. The synopsis for 2-player goes a little something like this.
Are you not just reading it?
Coming up.
Are you gonna play it?
It's coming up in a second.
We didn't even talk about one of the best parts of that episode.
Okay. Tandy and Evita must go through great lengths when Tyrone is put in a dangerous situation. Adina looks to someone surprising for help. Oh, yes. So we barely covered anything about the episode. So,
tip of the iceberg.
So Tandy and Evita, or Tandy calls Evita because she has no one else to call to help her with Ty. Evita comes through. She's like, I don't know what to do, and
I don't know what to do. And she misses her aunt's dead body.
Yeah, because she's like rushing to pack the bags, and so as
it's right there. But it's cool. She's doing it for her.
She's busy, okay?
Boyfriend, whatever. Anyway, so she packs.
I think when the episode starts, I can't remember which scene is first, but it either starts with what's her name, Leah, like fake prostituting.
Yeah, to get the car.
Yes.
To get the car. Leah and Andre are running away. And he's having migraines. That
Oh,
punk ass
man.
bitch.
And yes, it did start off with her and him, and he has a little migraine, and she's like, "Let me drive so you can like at least rest." And he's like, "No, no, no, I can drive."
No.
And he's like, "Yeah, let me get a quick
He
shot
refuses
real
to
quick."
give up
Yeah,
power.
let me get a quickie real quick, like just a nice little touch.
And
He hits her and he grabs he puts her in he puts her in, and he smiles a little, and that's how the episode opens. And then Evita.
Okay.
So did you want to? You're the one with notes.
I
can
mean,
recap just real
kinda.
quick.
All right, do that.
Okay, well, we already covered Andre and Leanne, what the fuck they're doing. Yeah, Tandy and Evita, and I think O'Reilly is what we're calling the non-vicious one.
O'Reilly's what we're calling.
They're like freaking out about Ty, and Evita is trying some Mambo-related shit. She's like, "Oh, we gotta get some crossroad dude to help out," and like they're gonna jump in, so they do.
Wait,
and then
she hands her candy.
Yeah, candy for the offering.
You find out the crossroad dude is Auntie's husband.
Yes.
And so they're like, wait, what? And like nuns marry God, and she's like, kind of like that.
Just real casual.
It's what I thought was funny about when they actually get into Tyrone when they get into the negative space on.
Oh, where'd he go?
That. Now I'm right here. What I thought was funny was when they got into Cloak Space. So they're in Cloak Space, and Tandy offers her version of Papa Legba, I think, candy, and then she goes on her journey, and it turns out, and then we see Fridge Bay as O'Reilly's version of Papa Legba, and she has to offer him candy, and she's like, "Oh, I don't. Well, here you go, fresh
some gum."
And he's like, "Really?
Experiment."
Spirit's great.
I thought that was funny. And he sends her on her journey, and then we kind of almost covered Tandy's journey, where she kind of she meets the Crossroads guy, and she's like, "Hey, what's going on with him?" And he's like, "Well, he's here, and he has to finish playing, or in order for he feels." No,
that was Sam.
Baron Samdi.
Yeah, that dude. That was a different guy.
I'm not gonna disrespect Baron Samdi like that. He's like a Bond villain and stuff.
He looks like the guy from Princess and the Frog.
He does look like the guy from Princess and the Frog.
He looks exactly like the guy. Exactly.
Was that guy's name? Because I never saw Princess and the Frog. Was his name also Baron Samdi? Because that's also set in Louisiana, and that's like a big New Orleans thing.
Princess and the Frog.
That's what you're shocked about? No, I have not.
I am actually very shocked about that.
I have feelings about it, but
you need to see it.
I feel like they're very similar. If anything, he was definitely inspired.
Probably inspired by him. I think so. That could be what it is. But yeah, he tells Tandy, "Well, you need to he needs to get out. Oh, you need to get him out. If you're trying to get him out, you need to, That's
not what he says.
Not at all.
He says Ty is basically feeding him his sorrows. And so Tandy is like, "I got tons of sorrows. You can have some of mine and let him go." And he's like, "Oh my gosh." Basically, like,
it's the worries.
Sometimes, like, you Americans always think you can just like trade this for that, or a hot dog is $1, or a home is your soul. Like, no, it's not. That's not how it works. And so then Tandy is like, "Well, I'll play you for him." And he's like, "Nah. What you can do is go play his game, and if you can convince him to leave, then both of y'all can go. But just a warning, the house always wins. So
yes,
do your thing."
Right.
Also, at the beginning of the episode, at the very, very beginning of the episode, you see like this little figurine of Ty, like
in the
cloak
case
and stuff. And you hear Baron Samdi saying, well, what do we have here? And he's like, got them all cased in. You just hear like video games in the background.
It's in an arcade.
Right.
And he's one of the prizes.
And so, so she gets in there, tries to convince him. He's like, "All right, let's just play the game." And she plays the game. they get to the level that's the motel
Wait.
level, and she kind of freezes.
Wait, you're not gonna the game storyline.
Okay.
I need to
I
say
mean, it is cool because the first
it's
thing
really
in the game
cool.
storyline is they get off the bus, which is literally how their comic opens up, and it's like that's why I thought I'm like, yo, this is so amazing. And they get off the bus, she gets robbed, they chase the robber, and they're in the alley, and the big bad in the game is like,
Despair.
hey, yes, despair is like,
And then
hey,
he gets injected with radioactive heroin.
Radioactive heroin.
And they're like, what the fuck? But like that's what it originally was, and it's so funny. It's so funny.
Oh,
Everything
man,
was
so
just
funny.
it's a radioactive spider, it's radioactive heroin. It's great.
And they have to fight their way through levels to get to him.
And so Tandy gets to shank bitches.
Yes.
Oh man, I thought Keem was gonna go crazy, but he was cool. But they got to the motel, and she was kind of freaked out, in my opinion. And he asked her, "Are you okay?" Like he does that almost every episode. Like he's always like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, can you do this? Do you?" And I think at that point is like she's like, "Yo, like." And then she goes through one of the levels, and she breaks down one of the walls, and she's going through. She's like, "Yo, Ty, come on, we need to go. Like this is not even like we just need to go." And okay, and that happens while they're in there. So we go out and we meet Auntie.
Can I just say, like, that shit was sad though? Like, she just got out. She
just got out of the motel, and for her to like go right back
to get back in there,
she was like not okay.
Yeah,
and it was like the only time in the game where she was struggling, like with enemies, and I was just like,
because on the street
that shit's hard. Yeah, like she wasn't even fucking breaking a sweat, and then she gets to the hotel and like she's getting overpowered. And like I know level 3, so it gets harder, but like that shit was probably real hard for her.
Yeah, triggered.
So we leave that point. We leave them in there. We go out, and while Evita's trying to, I'm not calling Baby anymore. Evita is trying to.
Yeah, start calling her Evita. She's taken.
You have to call her Mrs. What's his name? Papa.
Mrs. Like.
No.
Mrs. Sam.
Baron Samedi.
The Loa. Samdi. The Loa that
Samedi
had to marry. Yeah, Papa.
No, she married Baron Samedi.
I thought she married Papa somebody because Papa somebody was okay. So we're
Papa Legba.
Papa Legba is aunties. Papa Legba. Yeah, and then Auntie died and was like, "You're gonna have to marry somebody."
Yeah.
And so, I'm skipping ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. We're talking.
I was saying all of that to say you just have to call Evita.
I'm not calling her
Mrs. Legba now.
I thought she married this Samedi guy though, and not Legba.
Whoever is watching this or whoever is going to comment, can you tell us who she got married?
Please.
Yes.
Who did she marry? He wasn't really there for the wedding.
Because remember, so
it had to be someone over the dead and dying, but they didn't say who exactly.
And Papa Legba is another one over the dead, and like he's over that. And
he is in between.
When Auntie comes to visit her, and first off, we go back and we see her like trying to read the shells, and she's like, "Papa Legba, please give me a message, please give me a sign of what's to come." And then she sees, she looks at him and she's like, "No, this can't be right." So she's like, she keeps trying to do it over and over again. And finally Auntie shows up and is like, "Girl, I know you saw my message." And she's like, "Yeah, but I thought I was reading it wrong."
I know you read it.
Yeah.
You said seen.
And so then Auntie's like, don't be upset. Don't be sad. It was my time. My time is up. And now it's your turn. And Evita is like, "But I was going to go to college and be a doctor." And the aunt's like, "Oh, you were just being selfish." And she's like, "Selfish? Like, they made fun of me in school. I had to carry roots around in my pocketbook. I smelled funny. I do these creepy ass tours. Like, this was supposed to be my time." And Auntie is basically telling her, if you want to save your man, you know what you got to do. You got to become Mambo. And to do that, you have to marry a Loa. And so then Evita is like, "Oh, okay." And that whole little wedding ceremony scene, she goes to Auntie's vase and pulls out her, I'm guessing what was supposed to be. Why are you dancing, Mo?
Oh,
Because
you said the whole. It was a wedding set. Like they were dancing. Like I'm just giving you a background. I'm like,
I
so
okay.
didn't.
be it Baron Samdi or Papa
Like,
Legbra. Yeah, I'm just never gonna get that.
Papa
You know
Legba.
what's funny? I was like really annoyed with Tandy because his name has been said several times now. And when she goes to talk to Ty, she's like, or she goes to talk to Baron Samdi, she's like, I met Papa Sweet Tooth. And I'm like, that's so disrespectful. And I'm sitting here like, Papa Allegra,
just Legba.
Papa. I'm gonna call him
Yeah,
Papa.
just call him Papa, man.
Papa Sweet Tooth.
Yeah. So yeah, so at first Evita thinks that what she's doing isn't working because she's done like the little ceremony and nothing is happening, but then all of a sudden you start seeing these older black women dressed in white twerking, and
That's why I was dancing.
and auntie shows up,
Like
but
the lead dancer.
yeah, but like why is Auntie Batu seeing at the wedding? But that's
So much
interesting because then I'm like, how many brides has Papa taken? Because I'm thinking all of those
probably the
chicks
whole
in
family
white
line.
are like, yeah, that's
Are they all
nasty.
like part of? Is it
See,
all
that's
part
why
of
I'm
the same
thinking that she
family?
married the guy who had Ty and not Papa Legba.
Because okay, so before we get to whatever ends the episode, let's leave there for a second and let's go to the third storyline in this episode, which I thought
Adina.
was also really, really strong. Adina or Mama Ty goes to Reverend. Hey, Rev, I need confession, bro. I haven't had confession in a minute. Was good. Reverend is all like, oh.
She did not say it like that. She was like, I need you to finish the fucking job you failed at, and you failed me at, and you failed Ty at, and you failed the whole community at. So you need to get your shit
Everybody.
together.
For confession, though. Like, no, but she was like straight to the point a lot. And Reverend was kind of annoying. He was kind of like really. I think he's still kind of like either coming back from.
Well, he's at a sober house.
Because he did have, yeah, he did have a huge bender, and
Thanks, Mayhem.
he's coming back from his bender, and he's like, I'm no longer a man of the cloth. He's all soft spoken now. He's not yelling on a stand in Times Square. Sorry, not Times Square.
I mean, after what Adina told him, maybe he's gonna go back on the bender.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, or not told him, because I don't think she told him.
No, I think she told him.
She said it.
Because so
Okay.
what
He was
happens
like,
is
you just.
she goes to him with all of this
Right.
evidence, and she's
And
like, I need you to
like,
take this.
And he's like,
Because
why
it's-
can't you do it? And then she's like, I can't do it because if it comes from me, they're gonna ask me where I got it. But
Right.
you're a man of the
And
cloth.
by
and
law,
you'll be
I have to
holding
say,
yes. Yeah.
yeah.
And
Priests
since
don't
you're a
have
man
to
of the cloth,
divulge
no
where
one's
they
gonna
get it.
ask you. Yes, exactly.
But it's
Just
only
like
through
he-
confession.
Yeah.
She didn't want to. She didn't come up to him and was like, "Let me confess." She was like, "Do this,"
Yeah.
and he was like, "I can't unless you confess." It's just like,
And
"Fine,
so she
bitch.
goes into
I
confession.
murdered that hoe."
Oh my
That
god.
was beautiful.
Wow.
It was
Can you,
so
like,
great.
layer
Like-
into it.
Like, no, we're not. There's no build up. It's just happening.
You know, I think Brianna's been waiting for this for so long, because she was not happy with his look when he came out of Thai space, and she was like, I guess a change of heart, and she's like, but that's not enough. And I'm pretty sure when she saw Mom stick the knife on his throat, she was like, do it, but it didn't happen, and she finally got it, and she's like, murdered that hoe. But then if we go back to the episode,
Blew her load.
Okay, but I'm just saying, Adina ain't got to forgive shit. She ain't got. She don't. God forgives, but I don't. You murdered my fucking son and then covered it up and then got my other son as an outlaw. You framed him for murder.
You took my children before they even had a chance to live, like something of the sorts. I think that was when she was telling.
You killed them just for living their lives.
Yes, and that's what she told what's his face. And if we go back to that episode, it's kind of funny because when Dad comes in, Papa Ty comes in, they go in the room and they argue.
They're arguing.
Like, you just see them argue on the way out, and it's like,
why are you arguing? Like, she's just doing the same thing you did. with Ty.
He go in the
And
But
bathroom.
he may have gone to the bathroom and seen that whole Dexter setup and was like, "Fuck you about to do?"
Like it was beautiful because they actually show it. You see him walk into the bathroom, and I was like, okay, what's about to happen? The lights come on, and we just see everywhere, and he knows because he even turns around. He doesn't even try to run at her. He just stands right there and takes what he takes his comeuppance. I think we can call it his comeuppance, but I don't know. I don't know if an eye for an eye is like the best way to go about it, but he gets what he gets.
Well,
Brianna
no.
doesn't care. Brianna
Whatever.
doesn't care.
Whatever. The fuck ever.
While that
Billy
was
is dead. Okay, I'm tired of this. Oh, he's redeemed. He can just live his life. Fuck that bitch. Fuck him.
But while
Everyone
that
else
was
can.
while that was a really strong storyline, that was actually really really short because it was she went up to him, she asked him to do it. He said, "I'll only do it through confession." She gives her confession. Boom, we leave there, and we get to. I think should we go further and discuss Bridget and O'Reilly? Is there any need
I thought we already did. Basically,
Okay,
they meet up and they talk, and then you realize like how different they are and how like they see things from like completely different sides, and they're like, you know what? As much as I think you are like really misled and like only see the negative,
right?
The world needs you more than me, and so they combine.
So that's the thing. So they're one now, right? So
We
are
are
we
one.
gonna get the whole Bridget, I need you. O'Reilly, I need you. Is that what we're gonna get now? Like, are we gonna get like
I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna be that subtle. I mean, that explicit. I think it's gonna be more subtle.
Because the one thing that Bridget kept saying was like,
"Oh, Bridget's in here now."
When they were having their conversation back and forth, and Bridget was basically like, "So you just want us to merge, and then you just only want to like bring me out when you need the dirt done. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be subdued the whole time, and then you only bring me out when you need me." And O'Reilly was like, "You can drive." So I don't think
O'Reilly's such a pussy. Sorry.
I mean, but that's what you see in their conversation, where O'Reilly is like the compassion and seeing everything through rose-colored glasses, and Bridget is the cynic because Bridget's like, we went to the mall and he was just going there so he could flirt with the lady, and O'Reilly is like, okay, you didn't see a man who was just trying to get out of the house because everything in the house reminded him of his dead wife and it hurt too much. Why doesn't he get to be happy a little bit? And so
that is actually really
and
important.
Also,
that is actually a very very important line, because I think that actually catches Bridget off guard, because she's like, "Oh,
I didn't think of it that way." And then
she's not able to.
Yeah, O'Reilly even tells her, she was like, "All you see is the bad in everything, and then you just jump at it. Like, you have to, you got to learn balance."
At some point, but I think at some point there is going to be a battle between the two of them.
Maybe I feel like now it's more balance between them, so that even if Mayhem is driving, she still has Bridget in the back telling her, "Wait." Like, she's definitely way more understanding now. In the next episode, she's way more listenable.
Let's
also,
finish. So episode is almost over.
Real quick before we move on. At the beginning, Bridget is probably also just tired of shit because she goes to that hotel afterwards. And the cops are just like, "Oh, all these prostitutes, they're gonna just come back."
Yeah, they were like, "Yeah, we got the whores over there," and she's like, "You mean the victims?" And he's like, "Okay, sure, victims." Like,
and they're just gonna come back later, and this is just gonna be up and running.
It just makes you want to punch these white men in their faces, but
or murder them in a bathroom.
The thoughts of Bree and Mo are their thoughts alone.
Let me live vicariously through Adina. Okay.
Y'all not finna have somebody kicking down my door in a raid. No.
We saw your episode. No. Anyway, but so we go back, and while the wedding is damn near complete, there now at this point, Tandy is pulled out of the game, and she's like literally telling Ty, "Yo, look, this is not real. None of this is real. We need to leave, and we need to go." And he's like, "But we can't. At least we're winning. We're winning here. Everything we do out there, we can't win, and we're always too late, or we're never there in time." And you can understand that probably Ty is fed up. Like, he's always the one who's like, but there's always a better way. We don't have to do it that way. We can do it this way. And now he's like, we never win. Like, he's just fed the fuck up. And while they're arguing, the dead flowers come in, and you assume the wedding is over. And
Bouquet. The wedding bouquet.
Like, okay,
It's not just some dead flowers. It's the wedding bouquet.
Wedding.
Evita is married, now known as Mrs. Evita.
Mrs.
Mrs.
Papa.
Whatever her name, Mrs. Whatever, whoever, whatever.
Oh, I did look it up. So yeah, she did marry Papa Legba.
Oh, okay,
really?
Thank you. But
so
guess what?
like
guess
Baron
what?
Samdi is like his assistant.
But she's not married to Ty though, right?
No. Does that mean she can't date him anymore?
I'm kind of feeling like that means that she probably can't.
I couldn't tell if it was that.
Evita it is. Let's go.
So you're gonna disrespect the Loa of death?
You're gonna fuck with that guy?
You know where I'm at. Come find me, sir. What's good? Anyway,
the thoughts of Mo are his and his alone.
But yeah, so that happens and it's over, and he's like, "Oh, we're done here. Y'all can go." And they wake up, and when they wake up, they're all looking at each other like, "What just happened? Like,
what the
how?" And then you just see Bridget ready to go, and Tandy looks up and says, "Hey, Bridget's still in there, right?" Because she looks at Bridget as a Riley, and she's saying, Bridget's like, "Oh, she's like, yeah, Bridget's in here now," and she walks around, and she turns around and walks off.
Yeah, she's like, she's in here too.
And Tandy's like, wait a minute, what? But they just cut it off before I think anyone has a chance to say anything.
Yeah, they don't really talk about it.
It's funny because in the next episode, Blue Notes, they talk about it.
Oh,
yeah,
wait.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So
don't move on yet.
when they all come back, the curve that Ty gets, like when he wakes up and he sees Evita and he like goes to touch her and she just like moves back a little bit, like, nah, don't touch
I'm
me.
a married woman now.
I was actually very happy about that. Thinking about it now, I was actually very pleased.
Such a hater.
Don't touch her.
Ridiculous.
Because I mean, I think she's rightfully mad. She's rightfully upset because my whole plan for my
whole ass future is done.
Is gone.
Just to save his life.
Dumbass.
She just found out her auntie's dead.
Yes, that too. But
is this not the plight of Black women everywhere? You just want to sit home and play video games all day. You can play with your stupid ass games instead of going. Just to be clear, I'm fine with gaming. I have no beef with gaming.
Okay, thank you.
I have heard some people say, "Why does he need that game for? They're for kids. Like, it's stress relief. It's an escape. Calm down."
Thank you. Look at what Ty had to do when he was playing this game. You know, real life was a little difficult. The game kind of gave him a note. But whatever.
But in that out, she had to sacrifice herself.
Listen, as long as she's not with him anymore,
there's layers.
I'm fine with that. That's what I'm good on. She's not with him, so that's it. Anyway, so. It's funny because, like, I was trying to transition into the episode because Tandy and Bridge Riley. I'm calling her Bridge Riley because, you know, /
That's a lie.
Bridget O'Reilly.
We could just call her Bridge.
We should just call her Mayhem. Mayhem sounds so much cooler.
O'Reilly. Her name is Bridget O'Reilly, right? Because now
her name is Mayhem now.
Okay. They get to actually talk further about what happened, or not further about what happened. They touch on it. But before we
well, first they burn that fucking hotel down.
Yes. Oh, yes. At the end of the episode, Mayhem goes to the hotel and sets everything on fire. The roof. Second
yeah.
She's like, I won't be coming back here. They might try to come back, but you ain't got shit to come back to.
Yeah, not.
And Andre kicks Leah out onto the road after he figures out his lowest shit.
Right.
Well, he kicked her out. He kicked her out in the last, the last episode. She was already.
Yeah, and he figured out. Yeah, so come back to Andrew at the end of the episode, and he figures out his Loa is notes, like, and he's like, oh well, and then he grabs whatever he needs from Leah, and he puts her out. He's like, peace.
And Tandy goes home, and her mom relapsed.
Yeah, like heavy.
Yeah, because she's been gone for a minute though, and not answering calls or texts.
Right. Because and the last conversation they had, super sad. But then you see the friendship, and then you see Tyrone come in, and it's like, no, my friend,
we're gonna get him.
Yeah. So with Vita off the market now, being all married and stuff, does this?
I really don't want it. I don't want it.
The opportunity to ship.
I've been shipping them since season 1 because
a lot of people have been shipping them, but I don't want it. It has not been awkward. It has been a pure friendship, and I don't want it to change.
I kind of like the thought of just having a true
partner.
Yeah, friend? Like just a true friend. I can't even think of the word right now. Like when you're friends, when you have opposite sex friends, platonic. Shit.
Yeah, platonic.
Just a true platonic friendship. Like I hate thinking that
it's beautiful.
Every guy-girl duo that you see, they're going to end up like in some kind of.
And like I just like, what if they? All I think about is what if they break up and then like it's really fucking awkward, and I don't think you can just ditch the other side of the coin.
Yeah, it's gonna be super awkward if they ever did break up.
Which is why like platonic is perfect, and they've already like got pure like.
It's almost
I don't want
Captain America and Bucky. Their friendship.
That shit ain't platonic. It's Captain America and Sam. That shit's platonic.
Okay, Sam. Or Wonder Woman and what's her name? Lara Croft.
That shit's adorable. I need more of those.
It's super adorable. I saw more. I'll send you some. But anyway, we're back to Cloak and Dagger. We're in Blue Notes now. So Blue Notes. Tyrone and Tandy turn to a questionable ally to stop the human trafficking ring. Tandy learns about Leah's past, which I thought was pretty beautiful. Leah, it's like almost everyone in this show has different plans for themselves, but life happens or just shit happens, and next thing you know, you're like somewhere else you're not supposed to be. Because we get the villain's origin. So this whole time we know who the villain is, but we never get his origin. It's almost like a Thanos thing with him. And we get that for him, he's always had these migraines, and it's always been hard for him to...
No, he had an accident.
Oh, yeah, he did have an accident. And then
he hit that note.
Then he developed the migraines. And it's like he because the conversation, what I got from the conversation he had with his buddy was, hey man, you always try to do it and it always pushes you too far. So like, just not tonight because this is a really good big gig for us and we need it. So
he was like the crowd, the audience might not be ready for that blue note.
And he's like, man, the audience never knows what they want. We just
like they gonna get this blue note.
We just gotta give it to him, and when we give it to him,
he's just power hungry and fame hungry, and just and so he does it.
In a way, he's always been the person he is now. Now it's just he has the powers to do it. And so he gets on stage and hits the note. And yes, he gets the desired result from the crowd because everyone is like, whoa, what just happened? Whoa, like all cheering and everything.
But then he drops that shit and gets a migraine.
And he just falls out.
Have you ever had a migraine? That shit's terrible.
No, it's rough. It's
I've heard about
just saying it like, oh, he's a villain because he has migraines sounds really dumb. But if you've ever had a migraine, that shit.
Yeah, I have an offline story I can tell y'all about migraines where I can kind of understand, but also like go get some medication, bitch.
Yeah, listening.
Go get some medication, bitch.
You can almost understand why he would go to the extreme of what he does to get the relief for his migraines, but it's almost like, dude, like Keem said, man, go get some medication, man.
Yeah, go seek some treatment.
These women never did anything to you. But anyway, we're going through his origin story. So I feel like I should talk about his origin story first, which also ties into Leah's past. So let's get through it. And then we can now go into the crux of the episode. So in his origin journey, villain's journey, you see him after he hits the note and he kind of recovers from the night. He starts walking down, and I think maybe we've gone past, like, there was probably a time skip and we just see him.
It was like 4 months later.
One
Yeah,
of
it's
the
like
weird things that I thought was
96 months,
yeah, they were
92
counting like
months.
people count babies, like, oh,
I
he's
had to
84 months. Like, how
I had
long
to do
is it?
math. I was
Yeah,
like, how
I
many
didn't
years
even
is that?
bother. I didn't bother. But yeah, it started out at 96 months and then it went down to 92 months. And
yeah.
And then 90 blah blah
So
blah
so
and blah blah
3 months
blah.
later, and then when we see him walk to the bridge, and he's like probably fed up at this point, and he's gonna jump.
well,
And
did you cover him like basically abandoning his trumpet?
yeah, while
Like
he's
a
I think
like a
he's walking and
yeah,
he drops it, and
like
he's
they
just like,
leave
man,
babies on a doorstep, like he just
yeah,
left
he's like,
his trumpet in the middle of the street.
yeah, he's like, yo,
Like,
not you, because this is all your fault. I'm thinking is what he's saying. Like, this is all your fault. So he
Well, I don't
leaves
think it
that.
was. He couldn't even play anymore. He was too headache ridden.
Yeah, and so he
He had
gets
to
on the
give up his music,
bridge
literally.
and he's contemplating. I think at that point, before everything happens, he's like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should go get medication.
I was
I mean,
saying
I'm sure he
lots of
tried.
infomercials.
And then the rig blows, which is not funny because that is suicide. And then the rig blows and he loses concentration and he drops and the villain is created
He slips.
because he wakes up in the hospital and we see Leah for the first time and she's a nurse and she's all like in
Is she a
scrubs
nurse
and
or a
all.
I think
doctor?
she was a doctor.
I
Was
thought
she
she
a
was a
doctor?
doctor too. Well, because she talked about it like she talked about it like a doctor, where she was like, "Oh, I've been planning on doing medicine my whole life," and like that sounds more
Would a
doctorish.
doctor be
I think she was a doctor.
attending you like that? She would have been in a white coat if she was a doctor. She's a nurse.
She okay, wait, no, she wasn't like full fledged doctor, but she was in the process
She was
of
in her
becoming a
But
doctor.
she still would have been in a white coat. Even if she was doing her residency, she would have
I've
still
seen
been in a white coat.
doctors in just scrubs because
She
I
was a
think at
medical
some point in the
professional.
thing she
Okay,
says something about giving up being a doctor.
maybe
She
she
said give up
could.
medicine, which I've always interpreted as doctor.
So okay,
Because
maybe
usually,
she. So we need to figure that out. So whoever's watching, let us know what she is. But from okay, I'm not gonna argue. I just saying from my experience, what I've always seen is doctors are always in the white coat, and they the reason they're in the white coat is they don't want to be miss, especially female doctors. They want to let you know that they are doctors. Don't call me a nurse. I'm wearing a white coat. You blind? But so she's tending him, and he's like, oh, can you close the blinds? And she's like, oh, light sensitivity. Da 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 da. What happened? You had an accident. And she's reading his vitals charts to him, and she's like, and from your fall or whatever happened to you. And she's like, that's not what the people around you said, or the people that saw you said.
They
So
said
she's
you
like,
jumped.
yes. And she goes to, I think, change something, and he touches her. And this is the first time he gets into the record store.
and it's empty.
And you can see her just like, so physically you can see her just like sink into a sort of a despair state, and he starts to
It's
get
more
relief.
just a trance. She wasn't
Okay.
despaired yet. Yet.
She was
Yeah.
definitely like they were both zoned out, like her sitting there touching his arm, and they were both just kind of like,
Yeah, and then metaphysically, you can see him in the record store, and
Empty record
it's
store.
empty record store. I'm sorry.
It's empty. It's very important when you remember how fucking full that shit was.
Yes, and then Bridget had crushed everything. But so we go to so that happens, and again we're still on this origin story, so we skip that, and then we go to now him sitting down and talking to Leah, and they're both talking at this point. Also, because the reason I almost don't want to talk full on origin, because we get a mix of Cloak and Dagger in his origin, in his origin and Leah's kind of backstory. So do you want?
I mean, you could also just say they talk at the hospital and he manipulates her into leaving medicine
right
when she didn't want to, but he manipulates her to work at the community center, and they open up the community center for the women.
So that is
And then
his
he
origin.
starts holding their hands and being
And
like,
handshake,
ooh,
and then
records.
you can just see records on records on records on records on records. So the store is becoming full with
oh.
records. Yeah, go ahead.
So one thing that I think I meant to point out in the last, I did in the last episode. when Andre is in the record store and he goes over to check the door again with his Vevey on it, there's this pole like that's right behind him, and the pole has this sticker on it that says Parasite, and they keep like making sure that the Parasite sticker is like, and maybe that wasn't on purpose, but to me, I'm like, nah, he's a parasite.
Because
Like,
he is a parasite.
yeah. So,
Oh.
and I probably will go back and try to see what the other little stickers up there was, but the Parasite sticker was just like so
evident.
Just
That's cool.
I also watched like 3 times. So on the third watch, it was so evident. It was like right there in my face.
Wow. Now I might have to go back and look at it.
I'm gonna rewatch it just to look for that because that's cool. This is why I usually rewatch, but I couldn't this time.
I missed that. But anyway, so villain origin story out the way. We can now get into the episode. So the episode opens, of course, with Andre, but then we get Leah on the side street, where I think, but before we get there, we get
Tandy and Ty.
Tandy and Ty. And Ty's like, oh, I have to go do this on my own. And she's like, and he asks her, are you okay? And she's like, let me come with you. And he's like, no, this is something I have to do on my own. And, you know, because
you're being so vague. They need to find Andre.
Yes.
And they're like, well, how the fuck are we going to find Andre? And how the fuck are we going to find my mom? And they're like, okay, I have an idea, but I got to go on my own. And she's like, okay. And he's like, are you going to be okay? I don't want to leave you alone. Because she's still traumatized as fuck.
But then, of course, Tandy being Tandy goes, what do you mean you don't want to leave me alone? And he's like, well, I mean, you know, everything you've kind of been through. Like, and she's like, oh, I'm fine.
Like, I'm good.
Right. Like, oh, girl.
Go play with your little friends. Go do what you do.
Right. And you know what's funny? Exactly, Keem. That is such a, I'm not going to say it, but it's like, oh, I'm fine. Are you sure you're fine? I'm okay.
You know, me and some friends were having a conversation about that on a ride home yesterday, where
you're not okay.
It's like it's such a common woman thing to do, and it's so,
I didn't want to say it. Thank God.
I'm saying it for you, but you know, and I was like, I know not everybody does it, but then what happens is that creates this bigger mischaracterization for all women, where like, sometimes you're like, I'm fine, like, no, you all say you're fine, but I know you're not. Like,
it's real annoying when I am fine though, and people are like, no, you're not. I'm like, bitch, I think I am.
I'm pretty sure I know my feelings.
I mean, but
that's also because of that.
Been fine at a point, and they ask you, and you're like, I'm fine, or because they know when a woman, like, you know, it's. I'm not gonna say it's the RBF, right?
What's that?
King, you know what an RBF is?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Big Newton. I don't know.
Resting
bitch face.
Yes.
Oh, resting bitch face.
Guilty.
I wasn't gonna say it. But I mean, also it's a man. I think it's also a man thing to always never take "I'm fine" as "I'm fine." It's like we're just coded to just, oh, she's definitely not fine. Like, there's something wrong. She's gonna blow up 20 minutes now. Let's get this over with. So it's a man thing. But I mean, I think for Tyrone, it's also a Tyrone I care about you thing. And I know you're not fine because everything you dealt with doesn't point to you being fine. So
well, that, and he saw her when they were
especially in
that hotel room recreation where, like,
she was not fine.
She was freaking out.
But at the same time, I feel like really what she was saying was, I'm not ready to talk about it.
Of course. On your own time.
I'm just saying.
I'm sorry, that took me back.
I'm not ready to talk about it. Come back when I'm ready.
Mo had a full eye twitch, like
he had a whole flashback.
Okay. Just whenever you feel like talking, no pressure.
Do you need some time in the cloakroom right now, Mo?
I might. So when Tyrone goes off, so do we just tell each character's story separately?
Yeah.
Or because they all come together at a point. So when Tyrone goes off, he goes off to the gangs, and first of all, he calls his mom.
Yes. Sorry. I had y'all know why I'm excited. Sorry. Go ahead.
I know. First of all, he calls his mom, and mom is like, "Oh, Ty, how are you?" You know, like they having the conversation. How you calling me? He's like, "Don't worry about it, mom. I'm gangster now. I'm on the street. I know how to do these things." It's like, nah. He didn't say all that, but it's like, I'm okay. Don't have to worry about me. Are you okay? Because again, Tyrone is that guy who just asked, like, don't worry about me. Let's talk about you. Are you fine? What's been
How are
going on
you?
with you? And they have a conversation, but of course she doesn't tell him anything. And then
Of
he
course
does
not. What the
ask,
fuck's she gonna say?
how,
Oh yeah, I totally murdered Connors.
and he's
LOL.
like,
Peace
so
out.
what's going on with blah 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 with Connor? And she's like, yeah,
Connors,
Connors.
He's
he's
fine.
cool.
He's
Oh,
He's
that guy, he's
fine.
fine. He alright. Oh,
Everything's
him.
good here. Nothing to see.
and you can just tell she's full of it. And so while he's talking to her, he keeps cloaking in and out because he's looking for that one dude that the dude he snatched the gun from. Give me that.
Solomon.
Yeah, Solomon in the whatever wherever he did that. And so he finally finds him. He hangs up with mom and he follows him.
No, wait. You missed something.
Did he do something in between? I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay. Number one, I love that scene, and I love that he's mastering like his cloaking abilities.
Yes, he is.
Because he's just like on of like cloaking here and there, and so he asks his mom, "How's Connors?" And she's like, "He's good." And then he cloaks to the house and looks through the window at his mom, like, I know she's not telling the truth. I know she's full of shit. And so he looks through like,
Something's off.
She's
and his
burning
mom is
bloody
there,
newspapers.
like, burning bloody newspaper, and he's just like,
something ain't right.
I'm gonna come back to this later. But then he cloaks back to like.
I forgot to say this last episode too, but Keem, were you real happy that he didn't get to eat those crab cakes?
Yes. You like murder a child, and then you like set up a child. You don't get crab cakes. Sprinkles are for winners.
What if she gave him the crab cakes, gave him a drink of water?
No, she had the plate set up, and then she like untied him and was like, the bathroom's upstairs. And so he went to the bathroom, and those crab cakes stayed uneaten.
And she was like, I'm not giving this motherfucker my crab cakes. My my famous crab cake recipe.
She probably thought about it too. She's like, do I give him? Nah, fuck that.
No, you don't deserve these crab cakes.
So you're right. Thanks a lot, Keem, because I do remember him cloaking to the house. So because I'm trying to get to him meeting Solomon, and because there is a very huge MCU tie-in in this, or MCU TV tie-in in this, and so he does finally find Solomon, and he follows him to a restaurant, and Solomon in there, reading the newspaper, and he's there with them, and they're both. He's like, hey, so he's like, what's up? Like, what's up with you, man? It's been a minute. What's going on with you? How are things with you and everything? He's like, and they're looking at the newspaper, and he's like, yeah, I know who that is, Luke Cage, blah 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 blah. And then they talk. Yes, so we get a huge MCU TV name drop.
Luke and Claire.
Yes.
Yes, I was like, so she's like, her writing now is like.
Yes, she's everywhere. Because again, I think
national.
Because again, I feel like Bridget was the only kind of like
Kieran
tie, but now we have a full on. I think now that we have a full on name drop, there's a tie-in. Who knows? We might get a Luke Cage full tie-in into Cloak and Dagger at some point. Maybe next season. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It'd be cool. It'd be super cool. But yeah, he talks, and so we finally figure out that Solomon can't read, and that's not funny. Solomon can't read.
It's not. As we laugh.
You gotta learn to read, bro. Ty's like, you gotta learn to read. He's like, yo, read this for me. And he read it. It's like an older brother type of thing, and he kind of finds out where these other gangsters, the bigger bosses are from him.
But don't skip over the woke moment of
he looks like us.
The episode, he's like, he looks like us, and he's like, he's just doing this stuff because he's bulletproof. And he's like, I like to think that even if he wasn't bulletproof, like, we can all be heroes, even if we don't have. Okay, I just had a flash of like what's to come with Ty, and I just get so freaking excited with his badassness. But but he's like, you don't have to have some kind of ability to be a hero. You can still do good shit.
Yes, Brie. So that happens. No, I don't know. I'm sorry. I was answering a text, and I actually answered it out loud. Sorry about that. But so that happens, and we go. And so now it's like he finds out information about where to get, these gangsters are, or where from the gangsters he can get to Andre, but he has to find information from because he had to get the information from the big bosses or who buys, because those are the ones who sell the drugs. And so
Mo,
he's like,
I'm sorry. Why is there a spray bottle cap on your finger?
is this what is? So I'm like, why is Keem looking at me like I'm missing something? I don't know. It was
Are you
right
having a
during that.
Michael Jackson moment where you just want to wrap the tape around?
So this is what she's talking about.
I get distracted by the weirdest things. I'm sorry. So I'm just like sitting there like, what is...
So she does. So he gets. So he finally finds out where these big bosses are, and we get a super dope action scene. I think, apart from like say the big action fight in the motel, this is also one of my favorite action sequences with Cloak because he, in my opinion, he's actually mastering or gotten to a point where now he can cloak multiples without getting tired. And we get.
He's also just more confident.
Yeah.
You got to be real fucking sure of yourself to push someone off a freaking building
and I mean,
catch them.
Even if you fuck up, is it really that bad? Like, it's not really that much of a gamble.
Because he's a bad guy, really. And
yeah.
the speech he has with them is kind of interesting because he goes, "Hey, look, I know you guys so first he cloaks both of them to the building.
You make it sound so nice and casual, like, hey guys, can we just be good now? No, it was like, I got rules and you're gonna follow these rules or I'm gonna push you off the cliff. I want order.
Dripping
order
sauce everywhere. Tide.
Don't mess with them. Because I'm trying to make it seem like it's like, the speech. It's like, okay, like, no, you gotta say how he said it. Because he's like,
and they're like, I ain't gotta listen to you bitches. And he was like, fucking want to take a fall?
Yeah. Boom. I love how he's like, you know who I am, right? You know what I can do. Like, shit.
Yes. and it's like, it makes you think you can't hide from him. Because as soon as he knows where you are, he can find you. And we'll go through all this again. And
he took like one of those bitches out from like having a meal. He was like just eating at the bar, hanging out, surrounded by all his men. And he just like got on that table and was like, let's go.
I think it was him. The second person he took, when he got to him, the guy was like, oh, I know. You're like, oh, what you going to do now? And it's like, oh, all right. Took him to the building, dropped the dude in front of him. You see, that's the thing about this. It was super psychological because he didn't drop the person he took. He dropped the other guy. The first guy he took, he dropped him. So you can see what's going to happen if you mess with me. And he's talking to him, or he's staring right at him in his face. And you can just see time pass. And it's like, you hear him.
And then he pops back up. And so I guess the other dude is like, man, he's just being a bitch. It's not that scary. But he gets snatched up and he's like, whoa.
You know what you got to say? You listening. Because he goes, hey, like the drugs you sell to people who come to buy drugs from you, I can't stop that. But what you are going to do is stop selling to people who are buying drugs to put other people in situations so he wanted to stop them from selling to the trafficking rings. Like if people are coming to buy drugs from you for their personal use, for recreational use, that's fine. I'm not going to stop that. So make your money from that. Don't make it like if you try that again, oh, we ain't got to listen to you. What you going to do about it? Oh,
yeah. Well, then he was like, we can't do that because that's like the bulk of our clientele.
And he was like, I don't give a shit.
Was like, a word?
Like,
come on, off the roof.
Yeah, he's like, I don't give a shit. And then he says, now you know me. You know what I can do. And like you said, Bree, he's gotten more confident. He's gotten more confident with himself.
And do you guys remember him in season 1 when he got followed? When his whole freaking power is to transport out? It's like, how'd you get fucking followed?
Or
he wouldn't have even left the trail.
Yeah, or wasn't it in season 1 when he was running? He was getting shot, and instead of popping to go somewhere else, he kept popping in the same in a serpentine motion.
Yeah, like he couldn't control it yet, but
he couldn't control it. So now it's like, oh, I'm you, and especially in the beginning of the season, didn't he kind of get almost beat up?
Yeah, he got his ass kicked, and Tandy had to come in.
Yeah, so he's kind of like getting there with it. I feel like season 3 we're gonna, or maybe at the very end of this, we're gonna see a different tide. But yeah, so
and sorry, but thinking back to the last episode, when he was kind of in his smoke coma, and Evita was there, and Tandy was there, and Evita was like, "What the fuck is this?" And Tandy was like, "This is what happens when he gets scared." So you think about the whole time he was being badass in the last episode, like he was scared to death, but he was still going through
Oh
and
yeah,
doing
when
badass
he was
shit.
going through.
And so I
So he
guess
got
now, like,
super duper scared.
so now he's like
Now it's more of a
conquered his
confident thing.
fear, and he's played the video game, which somehow helped him. And so now he's just cloaking all over the place, like a
No,
champ.
it won't.
Okay, good.
Okay. And so yeah, so he's conquered it, and so that's his story for this episode. Before they come together, and now we get Tandy and Bridget, or Bridget O'Reilly, at this point. And so she's like, she goes up to Bridget and she's like, "Hey," oh, she's sitting on the hood of a car, and Bridget is like, "What have I told? What have I told you? This is not a, you can't help, or you can't do. There's nothing you can do. Like, I'm just gonna do things on my own from here." And Tandy looks at Bridget and is like, "Yo, something's off." Like, she's like, "I can come with you. I know what like what's going on with the girls." And something happens, right? Why Bridget had scolded her, and she was like, "You can't help." And then she walks away and turns around and is like, "All right, just go ahead and come through." I think because she got the call of a woman on the side street, that kind of matched the description of someone, maybe Leah. I think that's, something. She had gotten a call, and she's like, "Yeah, go ahead and come through. You can come with."
Yeah,
But
she
at
was like, "You're
first,
not gonna believe this. Like, if this is
yeah,
what I think it is, you probably need to come with me."
yes, because at first she had said, "Nah, I don't need you. You don't need to come." And she gets in the car, and things get really interesting. And she said something to her, and she's like, "Don't lie to me. You're not who I think you are, or you're not who you're trying to say you are. You're not passing yourself. You're exactly like, come on, son, like chill. You're not about to lie to me. I know who you are." And it's like, well, shit, you just gotta accept it at this point. And they get there, and she's like, "Don't put her in the ambulance." And the first thing, Tandy runs up and is like, "Don't put her in the ambulance." Like, she's probably gonna be traumatized. Like, she worked with someone, or she knew someone who abducted these girls and put them in the ambulance. And it's like, if you put her in the ambulance, she's gonna wake up, and you can imagine what's probably gonna happen to her when she wakes up and she sees you. But the conversation in the car, yes, I skipped. The conversation in the car is about the girls. You didn't have to tell me this time. I knew it. And she's like, "So, well, what's going on with the girls?" And she's like, "Well, some of them, like, they've just disappeared, and so what about the ones you locked up?" "Well, they just all of a sudden just seem to like go into like this catatonic state, and they're all humming the same thing, and they're like trying to get out, and it's like weird, like something's going on with them, and I don't know what it is." And she's like, "Oh, now at this point we need to find what's his face, because he might have the answers to what's going on." And this is where things get interesting. So they get there, and it's Leah. They put Leah in the. She needs to come with us, and the guy is like, or the guy who answered the call is like, "Well, she can't go." Bridget flexes. Bridget O'Reilly, detective. She's coming with. Like
You see this badge.
she did the swoop. Like, she did the swoop. Like, Bridget O'Reilly, detective. She's coming with me, and it's like, whoa, okay, my bad.
You got it, homie.
And I'm like, yo, you don't want these problems, because she
Now, listen.
like like homie, you don't want these problems. And so she does come through, and they get her in the car. And I don't know if anyone heard it. Maybe I was hearing things, but wasn't she was humming. Leah
She
was humming.
started humming. Yeah,
Thank you.
in the
Thank
back
you. Because
seat.
I wasn't going crazy. She was humming. And she's humming in the back seat, and it's like, what's and so they take her back to the church, and she can't get anything. She touched her, and she walks into her memories. Try so it goes back to what happened when they touched Mr. Ness. What is it, Mr. Ness? And the engineer, the Asian engineer, they touch them, and they find a door, and she finds a door, and she's like, "Oh, I can't do this on my own." So her story kind of comes to an end right there, because she has to call Big
Hi.
Homie. Yeah, because at this. Oh, okay,
Oh,
my bad,
you're missing something.
Yeah,
Wait,
okay.
she's got to unmute.
I
She's got to
yeah,
unmute. Hold on.
I finally missed something, and now I got called for it. I almost went through without missing anything. Go ahead.
The story doesn't end there because her and Mayhem fight because Mayhem's like, okay, let's kill the bitch.
That's right.
Oh, it was super dope. How am I missing the super dope parts? Anyways, yes, Mayhem is like, oh, she's the bad one. Like, we just gotta kill her because once we kill her, hopefully, all some of these things.
She was helping do all that shit.
Exactly.
So, and it doesn't justify anything. And Tandy, who's finally done victim blaming because she, like, because she was a victim. She knows that it's not that fucking easy. It's not that fucking easy. Her speech before she got kidnapped, you just have to choose to not be a victim. And that's all you need. But like, nah, bitch, it really ain't.
Yeah,
and she didn't choose that shit. It's not that easy. Psychologically, even like part physically with the drugs that they use. And so for once, she's like, Leah's a victim too.
Yeah, and she's like, you know what? Leah definitely is a victim because, like, I mean, she didn't know how much of a victim Leah was at this point.
At that point.
But she knew that she was a victim because you step into a room and it's just completely devoid of anything, no hope. It's just a black void.
Like, if she was helping Andre, like, buy her own shit,
you would see
it would have more something. Like, she wouldn't be that fucking dead. Like, you see that Andre did not.
No, and then she's like, oh, and then she pulls out. He's like, I got, like, right. Bridget is like, oh, you want these hands because I got hands for you. Let's go.
They had time that day.
And it's not even. It's like it was not even a fight. She just got beat up because she did try, like, she didn't even get anything in. She didn't get no punches in, no kicks in, nothing. She just
Tandy really got her ass kicked.
Yeah, she really got her ass kicked.
But Tandy
really
is
funny.
not, like, she's not trained in any kind of combat or anything. She just know how to throw her little light daggers.
But no,
she kind of always gets her ass kicked if you think about it.
But 2 episodes ago, before she gets kidnapped, until she gets, like, pepper sprayed.
Well, okay, the only reason she hasn't been getting her ass kicked every single time is because of the daggers. But, like, just fighting wise, she kind of sucks.
Until she got pepper sprayed, she was handling those dudes, and then she got pepper sprayed. Because again, she did kind of use the dagger to give her an advantage. Because when she cut the shovel, homie was kind of like, what just happened? And so he was shooketh. And she was like, boom, knocked him out. Yes, he was shooketh. But she got pepper sprayed, and, like, that was the end of that. But no, she got her ass handed to her. But then I think because she fought for Leah, Bridget was like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna chill out. You got it.
Cool.
Like, it's cool. But if anything goes sideways, it's on you. And it's like, all right, why? It's not gonna go sideways. I got this. And so she calls Big Homie, who just happened to finish doing his own, like, thing. And he's like, I got him. Like, before you get to him, there's a door. And he's like, man, I don't feel like doing this again. And she kind of convinces him, and me go in together. And this is where everything kind of comes to a head, because while everyone had their different, stories, they all kind of converge at this point. So they go into Leah, and they walk into Leah, and first they see Leah.
Kid Leah.
First they see Leah and what's his face? And Adrian, not Adrian. Andre having a conversation, and this is where he's trying to convince her, like, hey, this is not what you want. Like, this is not what you've always wanted. Like, you trust me, right? I was like, yo, son of a... like, you sick. Like, that actually pissed me off, because I hate whenever I see, like, men say, you trust me, right? And they're bad men. And, but you never know. But I think in movies and TV,
I feel like in Hollywood, 9 times out of 10, when a dude says, you trust me, right, you can't trust him.
When Aladdin said it, you know what, technically...
9 times out of 10...
No. When Aladdin said it, he was impersonating a prince. So he was lying. Shit. Who's the one? Because even
Aladdin ain't shit. Can't trust none of them.
Nah.
Like, movie dudes, like Hollywood dudes, can't trust them.
Nah. But yeah, so he's like, you trust me, right? And it's just, and so they see that happen. And they walk past, it's almost like, oh, they can't see us. So they walk past, and then they see Kid Leah, just really super talented, playing her, it's not a violin. Is it a violin? Cello. She's strumming that thing, like, and she's hitting the notes. You see her parents like, well, that's the mom, and the dad is like, like,
Not impressed. Like, no, you're going to medical school.
Like, right. Like, you gotta do is you gotta hit it harder, or you going to medical school. Like, this is
Even
how it
at that
works.
young age, yeah.
Right. And the mom is just like, oh, my daughter's actually kind of talented. But the dad, so it's probably, if we go further into her past or her life story, we probably see a point where the parents argued about it. But, they didn't do that. So she's like, oh, I know how to get to her. And she grabs one of the notes
But
on
she
one of the
asks,
sheets. She asked Kid Leah, she's like, hey, can I? And Kid Leah is like, here you go, you can have it.
like, if it's gonna help
And
somebody, sure.
while they're walking out, Tyrone asks, what are we even doing in here? And then we get the villain moment, because that was a villain moment, if you ask me. Andre's like, yes, Tandy. What are you even doing in here?
What are y'all doing here? Like, what,
I
sir?
was
You
like,
were
is there
supposed to be a
a
recollection.
memory? Like, is there anything this guy can't do? Like, it just he started pissing me off. Like, I just actually wanted to punch him. And so they go in, and I think they have a conversation. And I think she actually kind of talked to Leah at that point. She was like, you don't need him or something. She tries to convince Leah, and didn't he kick them out? I think he kicked them out of the memory, because they just happen to just fade right back into real life at this point. I think Bree's about to stop me again. No?
Oh no, I just
okay. All right.
I've been charging my phone, so I gotta mute.
You're doing good.
No, I know she tries to throw a dagger at him, and he's like, that shit won't work in here
He's like,
Not
that shit
here.
won't work in
because
here.
this is his domain. That's his
And
shit.
no, this is her memory. That's what he said.
Well, no, it's in the mine.
This is her mind.
It's not real.
It's not exactly. And so I think he does kick him out of. He does.
He either kicks them out or they just leave because, like, what the fuck are they gonna do?
Yeah, like, we can't fight him.
And so they get back to the real world, and Tyrone tells Tan, like, I know where he is. I know where to get to him. He's at the what's the name of the place again? I forget the name.
Well, he gets Solomon and those drug guys to be like, hey, Astor Corner boys, have you seen this bitch?
Yes, he does.
I love saying bitch, apparently. I say it a lot.
And they're like, yeah, that's they know where he is. And she's like, are you sure? She's like, yeah. And so I think Solomon or one of the drug guys actually calls, and they get to him. But they say the name of the bar he's going to be at.
Yeah, his old stomping grounds.
Yes. And so they go there, and they're like, oh, and then Tandy gets all angry. He's like, they lied to you. They played you.
Wait, before they even walk in, they talk about, Tandy is like, we should talk about what's going to happen when we get there.
Right.
Because, like, I might have to fucking kill him. Like,
right.
if it gets to it, I might have to do that. And Ty is like, nah, we do it together.
Yeah.
Together. We do good and bad in between, everything together.
But they did. It was together though. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself.
But like, no, like that was just so fucking sweet. Like, because like Tandy is right. Like, she's the one with the dagger. It's like, if she's gonna be,
he's like, I'm the one with.
It's like, what the fuck is he gonna do? I mean, I guess he could push people off the cliffs now.
I'm the one who wields the knives of light. Like, bitch,
yeah.
You know what? Stop smelling yourself. Okay, you're not that special.
You should have seen what I did tonight. Since you want to.
But like, because throughout this whole season, every time they were separated, it was just shit. And so like they're together, and Ty's just like, no, we're gonna do this shit together no matter what. And I think we're gonna kill him. We're gonna kill him together.
Finally, I think Ty also finally understands, especially after what happened in the last episode. Like, you actually did come for me. Like, so yeah. And and she's like, and she agrees, because again, you go back 2 episodes before that, and it's like, oh well, you came for me, so actually, you know what? Yeah, fuck it, we'll do it together. And then she gets mad. She's like, oh, they played you. Everyone always plays you, like they, And then while they're walking out, they see the sign that says, oh, wait, this is a new spot. The old spot burned down. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you got it? He's like, I got it. And then it's like, and that it's like they're so in sync now. It's almost like, oh, like, look at you guys. Like, it's tight. It's tight.
Working together.
Tight. Right. And so they get to the spot, and she's like, wait, do you hear that? And you can hear him like start to blow his horn, and you can see the light on his vey kind of build up, because he's about to become a god. Like,
yeah, it's like leveling up. Like, one note lights up, and then like the next line lights up, and then
he's about to hit the blue note. And they get there, and he's not even about to hit the blue note. When they break into the ground,
it's just starting.
He's kind of starting, and you see all these girls, and it's just It's like everyone is like, Michaela? And she goes to try to wake Michaela up, and they're just, I think they're humming too. They are humming along.
They are humming. They're all humming. And then she looks and she's like, Mom?
No, he looks and he's like, yo, Tandy, you need to get over here. It's like, what? Mom, you need to wake up.
That's how she sounded.
And it's like, I'm like, her mom, no. Like, this is where she is. And it starts to click. She was in the group.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like,
he preyed on all those women.
And so Ty cloaks to him, and he sees the notes building up, and he's like, Tandy, quick, throw it. I was like, oh, it's about to be so dope right now.
Throw your knife at me. Yeah.
Throw it at me. Oh, he's about to cloak the knife. Oh, shit. And he does. He throws it at him, and he's like, cloak. And he cloaks right behind, like right in front of him, and it comes right out, and it's like, oh, shit. Super cloak and dagger power. Come on. Like, it was
that was really cool, though. Like,
long distance shanking.
It was awesome.
Like that was together, and that was so cool.
That was together. And I think, right, so when he dies, or when he gets stabbed, he falls out, but he hit the note. And I think he always had an idea in his head, or he always knew that he had to die to get to this god status.
He had to shed his physical form. Yeah.
Because when he dies, they all kind of drop. Like, everyone kind of drops.
No, everyone disappears.
Everyone disappears.
Yeah, they all disappear, and you see him in this, like, super clean hall. His doors finally open, and hear people cheering, like, yo, okay, God, okay, new God was good with you. Like, everyone is kind of cheering for him, and then Cloak and Dagger, Tandy and Ty just like,
what the fuck do we do
everybody
now?
Go?
Yeah. Now what?
Like, and then it's like, the bad guy is about to win. He just Thanos'd everybody. I mean, it is Marvel. I thought, again, this episode was really good. Actually, you know what? Keem,
I thought it was really sad.
It's kind of sad, but it's also kind of like they have finally come into their own together. They're starting to come into their own way. They kind of have to work together. And it's like they can probably beat Andre, but they're gonna have to do it together, because at the end you still hear the music, and so they probably have to find the source of the music, because now, even though it was just a bunch of the girls that were out, not all of them were in jail or wherever, some of them were out and some of them were in jail, so the music is gonna go across the city, and they know his plan was to get everyone in the city to look all catatonic like Leah was. And so they know his plans. They have to.
Does he need that though? Now that he's a Loa?
I mean, he's probably going to be one of those ones that's like ultimate power.
Yeah, I mean, and he feeds off of it. So even though he's like in God form now.
I thought as soon as he was a Loa, then he wouldn't have those migraines. Like, I thought that was the whole point.
Yeah, he wouldn't have the migraines. I think he wanted it to not have the migraines, but I think once he gets the powers, like...
He's still power hungry, because that's the way he's been the whole time, is like
even before the migraines.
Yeah, because if you look at when he had... It's like his buddy told him not to hit the note because he might...
It's like, this is how you become a god. You hit that note.
Yeah, but he was like, I have to do it. Like, they're not going to know what hit him. And so now... I think that was also a prelude to he's going to do it again. No one's going to know what hit him, and the crowd is going to go wild for him. But yeah, so you might
just had to do it to them.
Yeah,
that meme. On him. I need that that photoshopped.
Just had to do it to him. But yeah, he's a villain. Like, he's a villain. Even in his origin story, he's still a villain. Like, there's almost nothing good about him or what he does or how he does what he does.
I hate when he's like, I'm suffering. Why shouldn't I make these other girls suffer too?
Right.
Why don't I deserve it? I'm just like, no, bitch.
That's what makes him even more of a villain. Is because...
But if you think about it though, excuse me, a lot of the villains that you come across, like, their motivation for villainy is such shit and self-entitlement.
So bad. You know who I'm still annoyed at? Fucking Luke Cage's brother shit. Like, oh, Dad was nicer to you. Like, bitch, Luke Cage didn't even know. How are you going to take it out on him? And that dad was still alive. Like, why didn't you go after the shit dad?
Kill your dad.
Right.
Stupid.
But
leave everybody else.
You know what? Apart from maybe the Joker and Lex Luthor, Lex Luthor is a very selfish villain. So maybe apart from the Joker, every villain, you are right. Every villain is kind of like self motivated because even Thanos. But I mean, Thanos in Endgame just at some point was like, "Fuck everybody, I'm gonna just do it to do it." At this point, but no, Andre was like, he always was a villain. Because I say that because again, when you look at the beginning of his story, it's like, well, I am I have to hit this note because I have to get the recognition from the people. And if you hear his buddy say to him, "Yo, this is a big gig. We need this."
Yeah, don't fuck
And
this up for us.
you didn't even care about the fact that other people have to eat. You just wanted to become a god to like the people for the note. And look at what it did to you. It exacerbated your migraines, and now you have to leave your trumpet. And now you figured out a way to stop it or to. And it's like again, King said, yes, it's very tough. Everyone sympathizes with you. Migraines are not for the weak hearted, for the weak of heart. He's weak of heart because dang, instead of saying, you know what, let me take medication, let me put these shades on, the ones that come up this way, and let me do what I have to do for myself, take yoga, meditate, because that's a lot. There's a lot of all these there's so many more holistic
Pretty sure they said though he tried everything and it doesn't work, and like that's a real thing. Like there are people out there who suffer from migraines, like even though they try every fucking thing.
And it's
So
still not.
like I'm pretty sure he did try everything, but and like that's why he like went all the way to suicide because it was just too much. Because he said that when he meets Auntie, where it's like, oh, Western medicine hasn't been working.
So I guess then shit.
And I'm pretty sure the migraines only started after he hit the blue note.
Yes, definitely after he started because
so really he technically did it to himself.
He brought it on himself.
Because
technically,
being a dick, but
fuck him trying. I'm sorry. I don't even feel bad that he tried everything. Fuck him, because you did that to yourself. Sorry. Like again.
You even got warned.
Yeah, he's a villain. Like he's not even a little baby villain because again, dang, what he did to those girls is literally the worst thing of the season. So
what he did to Leah, like, and he
God.
kept feeding on her, like. And then I don't know if you guys heard it in the last episode when they were in the car and he was having the migraine, and you can hear her saying, hey, I can go, like we can go anywhere you want to go. I can get a nursing certificate and I can take care of you and I can take care of us. And then he kind of like comes back and she's like, just let me drive.
He's like, no.
And he's like,
let me get a hit real quick.
Yeah, just let me suck out all of your hopes and dreams again. And leave you on the side of the road for fucking dead.
Leah is just like, okay.
No, she didn't say okay. She was like, no, I can't. I can't go through all of that again. And he's like, look, this will be the last time, I promise. Like he's an abuser.
He used the lines. Oh my God.
I promise this is the last time.
You trust me, right? And then I promise this is the last.
It won't happen again. And so she's like, okay. And I mean, technically, it probably would be the last time for her because, like, when they zoomed down on her on the ground and him pulling off, I thought she was dead.
Did you see? And then you could see him reading his Vivian and figure it out, and he was like, "Oh, I get it now." And he smiles and he drives off, and you just see Lee on the side like, "Sorry."
Done. Yeah,
nice.
He doesn't care at all.
He doesn't care, and hopefully they beat him. And I'm now looking forward to see how, because again, now it looks like they've come together, like they were. So it is a sad episode, but it's also, this one is a sad good episode because it's like where, say, like Tandy's episode 2 weeks ago was like super sad. It ended super sad. This one ends sad, but it's also like, okay, well, we know, like at this point, Cloak and Dagger are Cloak and Dagger. It's not like Cloak and Dagger. It's like Cloak and Dagger. And so that's my hope for the episode. That's my takeaway from the episode, is that Cloak and Dagger become a thing, and they're together now, and it's going to be great moving forward. Anyone with any takeaways before we dip?
Yes. Like I said, it was my favorite. Like, right. You go ahead, Bree, because I know you're trying to charge your battery.
I know it's dying, and I didn't want to like die out of the thing. Yeah. I thought this episode was sad. Like I felt like throughout the entire episode they were trying to get to him, and they barely ever got to him. And like I know it's the one right before the finale, but this episode made me sad. And then at the end, they even like he's a god. He's a god now, and like I don't know what they're even gonna think, like on how to. Evita's definitely gonna be a part of it, but like Evita's dealing with grief and having to be in a marriage that she didn't want.
And she lost her aunt and her career, future, and her freedom all in like 15 minutes.
See why Ty is like horrible. Anyways,
Ty's not horrible.
I'm Team Ty now.
I'm Team Tandy. I've always been Team Tandy. Anyways,
you have not always been Team Tandy. No, we literally have had multiple where we're just like, Tandy, why you being a bitch?
But I'm Team Tandy now. She's kind of cool now. Maybe. No?
Team Ty, always.
I love both of them, but as platonic.
He definitely has platonic friends.
Yeah.
A platonic partnership.
Well, that's the take. So we've gotten our takeaways out the way, and then we're done. Actually, wait, we are done. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this episode. And if you're going to be listening to it, thank you for listening to this. And we will catch you next week for the finale. We will definitely be here the Sunday after the finale. We're not going to have to wait 2 weeks for that one because it's not another episode. So I'm definitely going to make sure everybody's ready for that one. Or no, not everybody. Myself is ready for that one because it's always on me. But no, we're going to definitely drop the finale for you guys next week, Sunday. So come back here and discuss Cloak and Dagger with us. You can watch it while with us. You can just wait till it's uploaded. It's always going to be on the site, earth2cc.com. What I do have to do is put all Cloak and Dagger in a folder for you guys or in a playlist so you can just run through it and catch up with us before the finale. Thank you very much to all the people that watch it and leave comments. I really appreciate your comments. I will try to answer some questions or some comments if you have any. Just leave them, and we'll try to, when we're done with the finale, get to it. Thank you very much again, ladies, and we're done. Peace.